From the Keith Vincent Careless Studios in Paterson, New Jersey, Green Arrow Media proudly presents Is This Real? Tonight, we are going to look into the bad popes. Who are the worst ones? This is going to be a great discussion. And now your host, JC3.
Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic episode of Is This Real?
Is this real?
Okay. As you can see tonight, we are a three-piece in the booth tonight, which altered our plans a little bit because we don't have a full booth right now. We have a couple people out feeling under the weather. No COVID.
Thank God for that.
But
No monkeypox either.
No monkeypox either. No monkeypox. But they are feeling under the weather, so we are altering our plans, and we came up with a new topic you heard at the beginning of this episode, which just hit us like a cartoon pie. I don't know how to explain other than that.
Cartoon pie. Okay.
So we what was the topic we were originally supposed to do? I think it was
we were supposed to talk about the Knights Templar and the Holy Grail.
And the Holy Grail, yes. But we decided, because we don't have a full booth, to kind of scratch that, and we decided to go with Bad Pope, Bad Pope.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the Holy See's on you, bad Pope, bad Pope?
Meaning, we're talking about the worst popes in history. And that's a very interesting topic because I don't think Watch Mojo has a top 10 on that.
No, I don't think so either.
This will be a first.
Yes.
Watch Pope Joe.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. Today we're counting down the top 10 worst popes in history. We're gonna have to look that up. We're gonna have to fucking look that up now.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm befuddled. I didn't even do anything here.
Yeah, we're kind of flying off the cuff here.
You know, so Anthony, you
Yes.
love to talk about bad popes.
I do. Okay, this is an article I started reading off of historycollection.com. 10 of history's most scandalous popes. Now, for those of you who don't understand what the Pope is,
For those of you playing the home game.
for those of you out there playing the home game, the Pope is supposed to be Jesus' MC on earth. Like, he's supposed to be the guy, the leader of the Catholic Church, who's supposed to be
the pack.
He's supposed to implement like, you know, the Catholics of today
That
and lead
just-
them.
just-
The
say
proper
it.
terminology would be the Vicar of Christ on earth.
That too.
The vicar.
He's at the top.
He's out of the top.
He's the one going, I'm the fucking Pope. I speak it to the men upstairs. I know what I'm doing. And then we all go, thank you, Mr. Pope. Now, we've had good popes. I think the current Pope is a pretty okay Pope.
Okay, Pope.
He poped pretty good so far. He's the only Pope I know who sneaks outside of the fucking Vatican to go feed the homeless. That's a good Pope.
He's an okay Pope.
Okay? The previous Pope, Pope Ratzinger, Nazi the first? Yeah.
He was.
Actually, I can't
There's
really say
nothing. I
he's
don't
not
think he
Nazi-
did anything wrong.
He's not Nazi the first.
He just
He's like
looked
Nazi
evil.
the fourth. He was in Hitler Youth, Joe.
Okay. Never mind.
Now, remarkably, he's not on the top 10, but he retired.
I'm just going to listen to this episode because I don't know if I can stop laughing.
He retired. I didn't know you could do that as the Pope. Do they have an old Pope's home somewhere in Vatican City? He's the only resident.
He didn't hang up his jersey. He hung up his hat.
He hangs up his robes, you know, at the top of the St. Peter's Basilica. That's this fresco. That's that statue, and that's the Pope's robes. We hang up in the rafter.
I just hope that lightning bolt hits and misses me. Oh, I
It
got
says
it.
Benny on the back, you know, so we know it's him. But so that's what the Pope does, right? He's supposed to be the vicar of Christ, as Dad said. He's the one that is the last stop between humanity and God.
Right.
He's the ultimate religious leader of the Christian or Catholic faith. Catholic faith, definitely. Christians, or some sects of Christians out there who don't believe that the Pope is, his power is
He's
not
the
exactly
leader.
it.
He's not the leader of them. You know, he's the leader of.
Right.
I mean, they respect him, but they don't actually,
If you're not Eric.
consider him to be.
That's true. Eric said,
leader
"Fuck
of
the
their,
Pope."
You know, their
Now,
church.
Now, poping has happened for a long time. We've had a lot of popes. How many popes have there been?
Why do you say that like that?
What?
Poping?
Poping ain't easy. How many popes have there been? Let's
I'm
see.
gonna slap you with my Pope hand. This would be the episode that would go we cut up on TikTok.
There have been 226.
66.
Sorry, you're absolutely right. 266 popes.
Imagine if there was 666 popes.
The office of pope has existed for almost 2,000 years. 2,000 years of poping. And in those 2,000 years, we've had some good ones, and we've had some really fucking bad ones. Okay?
Who's leading the pack in poping?
The Italian peninsula has 217 popes. Out of 266,
The Italians.
217 come from Italy.
Has there ever been a United States pope?
Not that I know of, no. Then it goes Italy, France, Germany, Syria, Roman Syria or Byzantine Syria, Greece, and then 3 from Africa. It literally goes 217 to Italy, and then 16 to France, and then everything goes lower than that. So poping is predominantly Italian. We're the best at it. This current pope, though, is from Argentina, and he's the first pope from Argentina. There's been one pope from England, one pope from the Dutch part of the Holy Roman Empire, and the People's Republic of Poland, one pope there as well. Those are the bottom popes. So 266 of these fuckers. And we've had some good ones, and we've had some not so good ones. Dad, do you have a bad pope you want to put on blast right now?
Yeah, I do, actually. It's the one we were talking about earlier, Stephen VI and the Cadaver Synod.
What?
Okay, well, here's where it gets a little crazy. Stephen VI, who ruled from 896 to 897, subjected the
1 year?
1 year.
May of 896 to August, so a year and 897, so a year and 3 months.
He subjected the Roman Catholic Church.
He didn't have time to,
Subjected.
He didn't even have time to warm the fucking Pope's chair.
Well, you know, he was too busy trying to fry the previous pope.
That's true.
Okay, you know, he subjected the Roman Catholic Church to what was the most bizarre episode in its entire history. Upon his ascension to the papal throne, Stephen put his predecessor Formosus on trial for perjury. Only problem was, Formosus was filled with formaldehyde. He was dead for about 9 months, and they dug him up, and he put him on trial for perjury.
Talk about beating a dead pope.
Right, I mean,
I hate you. I'm so not ready
at
for this
Stephen's
episode.
orders, Formosus' disintegrated corpse was exhumed from his tomb, dressed in papal robes, and placed onto his old throne. As Stephen read out loud the accusations of perjury, a deacon shook the corpse skull, uttered pre-written responses in its head,
What say you, Formosus?
and after his remains pled guilty as charged.
Oh, it did?
Formosus was
what?
stripped, and redressed in rags. 3 fingers, the one they had used to offer blessings, were cut off,
Did they sentence him to death?
while the rest of his body was then thrown into the Tiber. I guess that's
the river.
river.
Yes.
The same place Romans once disposed of the criminals.
See, what they did was they strung him up like a marionette. Formosus, what do you say?
Guilty.
Imagine the fucking lawyer in that guy's case. I'm not taking the trial.
You know what song is playing in the back of my head now?
What?
I have no strings to keep me down.
Oh my God.
Formosus is not Pinocchio, goddammit. And they tossed his ass in the Tiber River. That'll show him.
You know what Pope? You know what Pope keeps coming up for me when I search?
Bad popes.
Yeah, for some reason, and it's very, very. What is that word? In something, it's a coincidence, not coincidence. Just you'll understand. So Pope Innocent the Third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's a bad pope, his name's Pope Innocent.
So it's ironic.
Yeah, ironic. Did he know he was going to be a bad pope?
No, I don't think
I'm
anyone
gonna be
knows.
innocent.
I
No,
think
no
once
one
they get in
knows.
there, they lose their minds. I think some of them have a degree of where, you know what, well, I'm the Pope now. I'm the Vicar of Christ, and you know, I'm not going to walk on water, but at least I can, I can do whatever I want. And they kind
Oh,
of
he looks like a jackass.
they kind of go crazy, and before you know it, they're doing stupid shit like digging up corpses and putting them on trial, and killing innocent people in the name of God or
The
or
Italians,
whatever.
everyone watching that. This is a good one. Did they have ye old court TV? Because that would have been a good episode.
I hate you so much.
So yeah, talk about Pope Innocent, Joe. What did Pope Innocent do that made him not innocent?
Apparently, he was one of the most
Pope
powerful.
guilty to first.
He was one of the most powerful popes and most influential popes in medieval popes, the medieval popes.
Well, it's during that time in
He
history.
exerted wide influence over the Christian states of Europe, claiming supremacy all over of the European kings, and he was central in supporting the Catholic Church's reform of, say that word,
I hate you.
ecclesiastical,
Ecclesiastical.
there we go,
Couldn't see where he was pointing.
affairs through his decretals and the Fourth Lateran Council.
He basically said, "Hey, everyone, I don't care if you're a king or not. I'm the fucking pope. Deal with it."
Is furthermore notable for using interdict and other censors to compel princes to obey his decisions, although these measures were not uniformly successful. So apparently he basically became a dictator over the papal.
Right, they lose their
Yeah,
minds.
they do.
And they think that they can do whatever they want, and they can cover it with their status as the Pope.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
apparently Sergius murdered a guy.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the one I got on my screen right now. We have Pope Sergius III. Murdered 2 predecessors and fathered an illegitimate child who went on to become a pope. So he kept it in line.
This week on Jerry Springer.
Jesus. I don't even think Jesus Christ wants anything to do with this. He's
My
like, Jesus in
God.
heaven, like, I didn't do that. That's not what I told
What
him
is
to
the
do.
most? Is there a most recent bad pope?
Well, hold on a second. We're going to get there. I'm sure that, I think the worst pope of recent times would probably be the Pope. I think there's another Pope in this, or Pius. Pope Pius, the one in the 40s, who basically went, Holocaust? I know nothing.
Yeah, I don't know that guy's name, but
Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, he, hiding Nazi paintings or
The
Jewish
fucking
paintings
Pope
and stuff.
refused to acknowledge that the Holocaust was happening. He can look out his fucking balcony and see, that's a lot of, I don't see nothing. Anyway,
Oh my God.
Pope Sergius III, he reigned for 51 years. Oh, I'm sorry. He was alive for 51 years, and he was the Pope from 1904 to 1911. So that's 8 years, 7 years he was the Pope. Let's see. He has the distinction of being the only Pope to have ever killed another Pope. So we know this for sure. We have Popicide. Okay? He rose to papacy by killing 2 immediate predecessors, Popes Leo V and Christopher. I'm going to say Christopher the First. It doesn't have a number after his name. So he killed Leo V and Chris the First. It was marked by feudal violence in that time in Rome and central Italy. And the aristocrats were warring with each other. And he wanted to be the fucking Pope. So he killed 2 of them. And mind you, he was born into an aristocratic family, which means this Pope came from money. Okay? And he had power, like political power too. So, he opposed Pope Formosa's candidate for the Holy Roman Emperor, and he backed a rival. And then Formosus made Sergius a bishop, and then sent his ass, away. And then he came back after Formosus died, and that's when Formosus went on trial, after he was dead. And all of his acts were null and void. So what's the Pope that you just was talking about that had the trial?
Pope. Hold on. Pope.
Stephen.
Pope Stephen. Right.
So after Stephen said that everything Formosus did was full of shit because he was a bad Pope, that unanointed Sergius, because the Formosus was the one who appointed him, a religious power. So it's really fucked up. So he decided to say fuck it. He killed a couple priests, popes to get to his seat. This is some Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah, it's the more you look into it, the more research I'm doing here, it's just like it's not. It gets so. I mean, we make light of it, obviously, but it's really just it's fucking sad. I mean, the one you're talking about for the Pope during the Holocaust was Pope Pius XII.
That's the one.
Okay,
Or as Izzard called
well,
him.
there's 2 popes. Through the 2 popes served through the Nazi period. Pope Pius XI from 1922 to 1939, and Pope Pius XII from 39 to 58. The Holy See strongly criticized Nazism through the late 20s and throughout the 30s, with Cardinal Pacelli, later Pope Pius XII. He was their outspoken critic on it, but for some reason he just, didn't really mention anything when he was the Pope.
Yeah.
He let everything go. He let everything slide. It was nothing, and the Nazis didn't even want him. The Nazis were against him being a Pope, but somehow he got in there. And it's kind of like, I guess a juxtaposition, because the Nazis didn't want him, yet he didn't say anything, and he still protected the Nazis.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fucked up.
He's looking out
well-
the window like, that's a lot of Jews.
Hold on. Okay.
Well, you know what he said? He did make a statement to the Hungarian Congress at one point. He said that the Jews' lips are cursed because they keep rejecting Jesus.
Yep.
So that could have been part of his problem. That
I got nothing to see here. I don't like these people.
Right, exactly. So
It's fucked up.
yeah.
All
well,
right.
real quick, we're going to take a short little break, and we'll be right back.
We'll be back with more Bad Pope.
Welcome back to Bad Pope, Bad Pope.
What? What you gonna do?
There you go. All right. So, Bad Popes, I just have a quick list. We'll go through, run down, because there's a lot of them, apparently. So I have a quick little list right here. So, ready? We talked about Pope Stephen.
Oh, that's off of a book, right? The
Yeah.
Bad Popes. Okay.
But it's an actual, it's true. It's
It's historically.
Yeah. So Pope John the VII from 955 to 964, he gave land to a mistress, murdered several people, and was killed by a man who caught him in bed with his wife.
Imagine that going up on trial. Like, what did you do? I killed the Pope.
So
Fuck.
Pope Benedict.
I want to go to hell, and I don't want to wait online with her.
All right. Pope Benedict IX from 1032 to 1044, 1045, and then 1047 to 1048.
I don't think
He's the one who, quote unquote, sold the papacy.
You want to
I
be?
don't know what the hell that means.
You want to be the Pope? I have a price.
Pope
Talking to me.
Pope Boniface VIII, 1294 to 1303. Who is lampooned in Dante's Divine Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell does that mean?
Means that he was made an example of. When Dante was writing the Divine Comedy, that was the Pope that was either still alive or had just died when Dante was writing it, and he put the Pope in the Divine Comedy being punished in hell.
Okay.
'Cause Dante saw that Pope was a fucked up person.
Okay. Pope Urban VI, from 1378 to 1389, who complained that he did not hear enough screaming when cardinals who had conspired against him were tortured.
I like that way of thinking. It's that thing that Jesus said, do unto others.
I hate you. Pope Alexander VI from 1492 to 1503. He was guilty of nepotism and whose unattended corpse swelled until it could barely fit in a coffin.
Yeah, they didn't. But he's dead. Leave him. Fuck him.
Mm-hmm.
He put his cousin in power in the fucking church in Rome. No, we don't want anything to do with him.
Pope Leo X, 1513 to 1521. Spendthrift member of the Medici family who once spent 1/7 of his predecessor's reserves on a single ceremony.
That was when the Vatican was looking really spiffy. Like everyone was walking around like, Pope, do we really need that fountain in the fucking main room? I wanted a fountain. It really ties together with the fresco.
Fuck you.
There's no room for it in here. Run the pipes. We want the fountain in the room. I want it right in front of my chair.
Okay, and the last one I have on this quick little, from a book called The Bad Popes, Pope Clement the 7th, for 1523 to 1534, who was also part of the Medici family, whose power politicking with France, Spain, and Germany got Rome sacked.
Yeah. You know, when we look at the Book of Revelation, one of the things is, the city of 7 hills will fall, which is what Rome is, the city of 7 hills. It's fallen several times, and that could have been one of the times like the revelations came true.
Well,
Because like he was fucking around with everyone, and then everyone went, you know what? Fuck this guy, and ransacked Rome.
well, I just have one little more side note to talk about. It's not
Go ahead.
about the Pope, and then Anthony could talk about one of his favorite popes.
This pope should be a saint, but go on.
This is something that goes into what we talk about here in Is This Real a lot. We talk about different families. We've talked about the Clintons. We talked about the Rothschilds.
Yep.
The Medici family, Dad. Do you know about the Medici family?
No, I do not.
The Medici family was an Italian banking family and political dynasty that first began to gather prominence under Cosimo de' Medici in the Republic of Florence during the first half of the 15th century.
Old money.
Very old money. And they produced 4 popes of the Catholic Church.
Organized religion and organized crime.
Pope Leo X, Pope Clement the Seventh, Pope Pius IV, and Pope Leo XI.
Working together
And
to build
hold
a
on.
religion.
Wait for it. Wait. And 2 queens of France, Catherine de' Medici and Marie de' Medici.
Okay, when it comes to France and they went through leaders like underwear. Every time there's been so many fucking revolutions in France that, like, even the latest one is only like, I think the current political climate in France is only like 60 years old. Like, but like just had their last revolution. They have like one more revolution.
You really want to negotiate with a person who's head in a basket?
It's like we're looking at France like, listen, one more revolution and we're taking away a revolution card. All right, get some shit down on paper, make it straight.
So maybe in the near future we will talk about the House of Medici.
And it's
We could do that as a fucking show, bro. House of Medici.
That's not a bad idea.
Okay, Anthony, take away with your Pope Pervert the First.
Well, I'd like to turn now and speak to the Pope John the 12th, also known as the Holy Saint of Lube. He turned the papal palace into a whorehouse, and he died while having sex. He was the youngest pope in history. He was 34, right? Am I mathing correct there, Joey?
937 to 964.
Yeah.
No, he was not 30 at all. He was 27.
He was 27. Thank you. I'm terrible. He's the math guy. So you have a 27-year-old pope who became pope at 18. Like, I don't know who the fuck let him become pope at 18. We live in a country now where you can't drink till you're 21. This guy was poping at 18. Okay? Can you imagine, like, the knitting circle? Like, my son's a doctor. My son's a lawyer. What is your son? He's at the pope. And I'm the mother of the pope. So you respect me as the mother of the pope.
He kept his Pope hand strong.
Kept that pope hand strong. So he was a teenager. That's it. Now,
That sounds like a Disney show. I was a teenage Pope.
I was a teenage pope. Now, unfortunately, he was not. His origins were not very good. He's the product of an incest relationship. So this is an incestuous pope. Right off the bat, it's all fucked up. Now, Pope Incest I, he was the child of Rome's most powerful political figure, Alberic II, Duke of Spoleto, a self-styled Prince of Rome, and his stepsister,
Which Pope is this again? John?
John the 12th.
Oh, I'm reading this too. I might have a little more information on
All
that.
right, hold on.
Just keep going.
In 954, right before his death, Alberic extracted an oath from Rome's aristocracy to appoint his son, the Pope, the next time the position was vacant. So basically, using his political power, he said, my son's got Pope next. He put $5 down on the chair, and he was like, the kid's got next. So when Pope Agapetus died in 955, Octavius, who became John II, took over. He did not give a fuck about being the Pope.
Or celibacy.
He didn't care. His father had died by then, and the teenager found himself in a position of power with wealth, riches, resources, and he didn't have any adult supervision. How could he? Because the only person he can answer to is God. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what, Pope, you really shouldn't have been doing that. He goes, I'm a Pope. And they went, okay, you got me beat, a Pope. So he just did anything the fuck he wanted to do. He'd like to hunt. He liked to gamble. He liked wine. He liked women. He had a habit of toasting the devil and invoking pagan gods during dice games. I am going to start a motion. This is Pope Fun Times the First. Because I want to have a beer with this Pope.
Well, do you also know that he had sexual intercourse with his own sisters, too?
Yeah, well, listen, this is not a good time for many popes. They didn't make a lot of good decisions back then. And Pope not giving the fuck the first didn't care about anything.
And apparently his grandmother married several Italian conquerors.
She was conquered many times, it seems. He was notorious for orgies.
Dad, you're kind of quiet over there. Why are you quiet?
I'm enjoying listening to you two, going through this stuff because, A, I'm exhausted. But B, it's like I'm learning.
He became
Is
notorious.
this useful knowledge, though?
He became notorious for orgies
Let's hope
and
people think so.
and drunken parties. Like, can you imagine the invitation? Like, ooh, there's an orgy tonight. Where is it? At the Basilica. I don't know if I should fuck there in the eyes of God. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, Phil. Come on. He got a kick out of defiling holy sites by having sex in them. So this Pope was really out there.
Yeah, that's...
He had sex with both men and women in the papal palace, and if visitors refused his advances, he raped them.
Jesus Christ.
And this is what, Pope who?
John the 12th. This Pope carried on with one of his dead father's mistresses, with his own niece, and two of his younger sisters.
Oh, my God.
So he died. He was 27, and he died while having sex. There are two accounts of his death. One account has him dying after suffering a massive stroke while having sex, which is peak irony. And the other one has him dying while having an adulterous sexual encounter when a woman's cuckolded husband burst in and killed the Pope. So we don't know what took this Pope out, but he didn't last long, and he was
what, 27 when he died?
27.
Yeah.
So his position of popehood was bought and paid. He had unlimited power. He did whatever the fuck he wanted.
And apparently the Holy Roman Emperor Otto the Great said it would take a whole day to list all of John's crimes.
Wow. It's fucked up.
He was too busy playing with everything he wanted to play with to enact any policies. Like, you would think this kind of pope would be someone you listen to. It's like, there's church on Sunday and we're going to change the Eucharist to fried chicken. Like, that's an upgrade, I think. Can you imagine the priest at Sunday Mass having to don an apron to hand out chicken on a plate with food? Like, that's just a weird thing that we could have had. But, John didn't want that. He was just too busy fucking and screwing everyone and everything.
All I know is that...
It's like, where do you want to fuck tonight, John? In the Basilica.
The next pope I have...
I want to fuck under the porch. I want to call a meeting, have everyone fill up in town square, and I want to bang right on the porch and wave a hello. Fuck me.
I don't like the title of the next pope I have. It's Pope Boniface the Eighth and the Inferno.
Ooh, what's going on with Boniface?
The separation between church and state was a founding pillar of early modern democracies, one that many popes on the list thought to dismantle. Of all the incorrigible popes discussed by Chamberlain, however, none was more involved in temporal affairs than Boniface the Eighth. Over the course of his 9-year reign, Boniface, a former student and practitioner of canon law. Anthony, what is canon law?
Religious law.
Okay. Meddled in innumerable international affairs, leveraging the power of his office to turn the tide of major conflicts, like the First War of Scottish Independence. Boniface fancied himself the highest authority under God and went to great lengths to remain independent from Europe's empires. When in 1296, Philip IV barred members of the clergy from serving in his government, Boniface excommunicated him from the church. Boniface's venture tenure inspired intense criticism. Dante saw fit to work the Pope into the Inferno.
Yeah.
The crime that landed him there in the 8th circle of hell was fraud, specifically simony, the buying and selling of privileges in exchange for money or services. Boniface believed the Holy Roman Emperor should always answer to the Pope, whereas Dante, whose understanding of Christianity was rooted in the contemplation of one's own sins, believed that neither position should hold sway over the other.
God damn.
So he was one of the bases of Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, and he's also the same Pope who he issued what they call a bull, a papal bull, the Church's official term for a proclamation, which he placed on Europe's kings and their armies under his supreme command. But the problem is the rulers of those things have called bull on this, especially Philip, Prince Philip. I'm sorry, King Philip of France, who ordered Boniface's capture after he caught wind of the Pope's plans to excommunicate him. Boniface died and escaped that, so he and according to the Inferno, he's in the 8th circle of hell.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
You want
before
All right.
before we get to one of our last popes, bad popes,
This is a really bad Pope.
bad pope.
Bad Pope. Shame on you. Smack him in the hat.
Before we get to our last bad pope, we're going to take our second break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Bad pope, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when he comes for you? Okay, so we're back with the bad popes. Anthony,
I think I found the worst Pope.
Anthony found the worst pope, Dad.
Go for it.
Worse than Nazi popes. Worse than incestuous popes. You know, there's one thing you can say about the Catholic faith.
Here we go.
I'm too tired to even argue with him.
There's one thing you can say about the Catholic faith. They honor their traditions. Now, we thought the scandals of the modern church with all the pedophilia was something new. Apparently it hasn't. It isn't. Pope Julius III was a proud and flaunted pedophile.
Wow.
68 years old. He was only pope for 5 years up until his death. And he was a career diplomat and politician. In his case, he took some half-hearted stabs at reforming the corrupt Catholic Church at that point, but he also liked to spend his time enjoying himself. And how does he enjoy himself? He fucked little boys in the ass.
Is this Pope Julius II?
Third.
Oh, the third. Okay.
He devoted himself to pedophilia with adolescent boys, and his notorious pedophilic pursuits tarnished his reputation. You would think so. Like, you have a great resume, Pope, but you have that one thing on here that it's not good for your legacy, my friend. He was the nephew of an archbishop and cardinal. That was his way into the church, and he worked his way up. He became cardinal in 1536. He took various diplomatic missions on behalf of the Holy Father during that time, and in 1550 he was elected pope. So, so far so good, but he didn't really take poping seriously. He lured the church's treasury to renovate his own mansion in Rome. First of all, holy shit. Like, you're living in the Vatican, but he had a summer home in Rome that he used Vatican money. The villa needs a pool. And that's what he did. And he hired Michelangelo to fucking soup his shit up. Like, you just got done with a couple of things around here. I like your work. My house out in Rome could use some, fresco here and a painting there. But his most distinguished scandalous thing was He loved young boys, and he had sex with kids. And they were abundantly clear to whoever set foot in his papal residence. His mansion was full of statues and frescoes of boys having sex with each other. Like, this guy wasn't having sex with kids. He was putting up posters, too. Like, holy shit.
And
The greatest controversy was known as the Incenso Scandal, which is the innocent scandal, apparently, named after a handsome 13-year-old beggar with whom Julius fell passionately in love with. He had the street urchin adopted into his family, then made the uncouth and barely literate kid a cardinal and showered him with church offices and, benefits. The boy shared the Pope's bed, and on the occasions when he was absent from Rome, Julius fretted until he returned with the impatience of a lover pining for his mistress. So when he sent the boy out to do Pope stuff, he was like worried the whole time. And that's what. And then, mind you, this kid was 13. He was in his fucking 60s.
I don't care how old he was. I mean, that's just fucking.
No, I know it's fucked up no matter what. However handsome Incenso was. Oh, it's not okay. Incenso's his name, and whatever the fuck, was not the first teenage lover made cardinal by this pope. That distinction goes to another one of his boy lovers, a 16-year-old whom Julius III made a cardinal as a reward for his bravery because he did not cry after he was bitten by one of the Pope's pet monkeys. The standard of becoming cardinal was so low. You got bit by a monkey and you didn't cry. You're a cardinal. I trust you. And then he fucked him. This is stuff that the church does not speak about in 2022.
Well, you can't blame him. It's not, something you're going to hear at liturgy on Sunday.
When Jesus said, "Suffer the little children come unto me," that's not what he was talking about.
I don't
I
know.
hate you.
I didn't know there were so many popes that were so fucked up. I mean, I knew there was some. Don't get me wrong. I mean, some of them are crazy and some are going to be labeled bad.
And we didn't even fucking touch any of the popes that were part of the Inquisitions or anything like that.
Well, I think the one pope we touched on was part of the Inquisition.
Yeah, but the Inquisition basically wasn't as bad as something like this. This is
well,
really,
there's one thing to sit there and go, listen, I'm waging a war on the non-believers because I believe that my faith should be the faith of the world.
Yeah.
And I'm absolving all the soldiers. You can rape, you can murder, you can torture all you want. You're absolved of your sins. You have credit in God's eyes. Mm-hmm. That's fucked up. And then you have Pope Pedophile the First. You have Pope Orgy the First. You have Pope Blind Eye Nazi in the 40s the First. Like, you have all these... Like, evil comes in many forms. Like, you want to say the smoke of Satan has invaded the... It's been there. It's been there from the fucking start.
Hey, it makes more sense to me now because if that was the third secret of Fatima, she knew what she was talking about.
Yeah, it was like, no, it hasn't entered. It's been there.
Well, for him, for at that point, Pope John, it would have entered. Again, how much does the current popes, are they schooled on this stuff? Is there somebody in the Vatican that comes into them when they get there and say, look, here's what we did, going back, 350 years, we had this guy.
I'm sorry. if there's a school like that in now, right, where there's a giant fucking billboard for popes to sit there and go, don't touch kids. Because this is what the Pope did.
No, but it, like...
So it was like one of those circles with the X through it and it's a child.
If you become Pope and they sit you down in a class of 2,000 years of history, I would have been like, I don't want this job. Yeah. It looks good on my resume, but I don't think I could turn this ship around.
Yeah. It's again, it's a matter of belief. To me, I mean, these are real scandals. It comes down to us in history, and you got to believe them.
And mind you, we're a couple of assholes who just discovered this today. Right. We have no idea. We talk about 8 popes, 9 popes.
I did about 6 in that little little snippet.
But out of 266, we talked about 15 popes roughly.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more.
Well, there's going to have to be more. Again, where does the history come out? Who's going to record this stuff to go out there and say it? you're gonna have to find out like we did. You're not gonna find it on the papal website.
Right. It's one thing to like disagree with the Pope's politics. Like, they changed that policy. I disagreed with it. It's another thing like, no, this guy was putting up like statues of kids fucking each other.
Yeah.
Like, there's no excuse.
You know what came to my mind when you said that?
What?
No. What came to my mind when you said that? What happened to those statues?
Oh, that's probably in the Vatican archives. That's
gonna
one of those
say.
things like we're putting them down here, or they got destroyed.
If they are in the Vatican archives, then that's a little much for me.
Here's some crazy. Well, we know that the Vatican archives houses the world's most amount of porn. And that's considered erotica. If it's considered erotica, it would be there. And if you don't smash it because it's a part of history and you want to preserve
art.
history, so someone else is going, it's art. That would have been that Pope. Like, you can't have this. It's like, it's art. I had Michelangelo do it last night. It's fine.
How fucked up was Michelangelo then?
He was just taking a commission. Artists don't care. As long as the check clears, I'll draw anything the fuck you want.
He painted the Sistine
Joe's
Chapel.
giving me such an evil look. It's the truth,
It's a
though.
juxtaposition between painting the Sistine Chapel and having a statue of
Imagine-
little boys.
Imagine that Pope was around today and like, no, we could just store everything on a computer. Like, that's a lot. There's a guy, like, he had statues made up because they didn't have JPEGs. Ow! It's the truth, though.
I hate you.
Okay, think about it. Like, if it's an image of something illegal like that, what's the difference between a picture on a computer and a statue? I mean, at least with a statue, you can walk up and, like, stroke it or something. I don't know. It's still fucking wrong.
Very much so, yeah. Yeah, that's a little much even for me. But I think the Pope's, I think, again, you're going to get, and I know this is going to sound kind of weird, but, with everything in life, you get good and you get bad. But this seems to be
Well, we talked about 15 so far.
completely in
Out of
opposition to
266.
what you're put in power for. It seems to me it's just a total abuse of authority, total abuse of power. And at that point, I don't know if the Vatican has checks and balances where, like, say the Pope goes fucking apeshit and, gets
Wait,
out
are you looking up the good popes?
I want to end on a positive note.
and, does he... What if the Pope one day decides to take an AK-47 and go do his Sunday Mass?
Wait, what?
I don't think any
Can you
Pope would do
stop?
that.
Well, my point is, hey, you know
have
what?
the-
Come on.
You have the likelihood of somebody in the crowd doing that than the Pope standing
No,
up there with like target practice.
I know that, but is there somebody at that point? It comes down to where, do you stop this guy or you just let him do it because he's the Pope? Is there somebody in power that would stop that?
I don't mean to get
Fight or
political.
flight.
Hold on, I don't mean to get political on this one, but you can use that same logic, and this is for a different topic too. But you can use that same logic. We say, well, they voted him in. That's what the people want. Well, the people could also be wrong
yeah, but
too.
that's a crime, though. I mean, that's
No, I know it's a crime, but I'm saying like if you can make that argument
Well,
of
the
like
people don't
where
vote
do
the
you
Pope in.
Well, no, the Cardinals do, but my point is like, we talk about this all the time when we're discussing the abortion shit. Like, well, if that's in the state and that's what
You
the
know
people
what?
voted in.
No, I want that. I
on a
want the
second, let me
people
finish.
of the Catholic Church to vote for the Pope.
No, it doesn't work that way. But
Because
I'm
I
saying,
want Snoop Dogg to be the Pope.
what I'm saying is, if you can sit there and go, well, that's the people that they want, and my argument is, if you're going to make policies based on your theology, then that's wrong. It should also be up to the politician. Listen, I know you want this passed, but it doesn't apply to everyone because we're not all the same faith. That should be the responsibility too. So just because they want it and he's voted that way doesn't mean it's right.
well.
I have no
What I'm
idea
trying to
you're
say is like,
connect here.
like in the United States, if the president goes crazy and they like one day he just gets up and he starts doing something really stupid, they have the 25th Amendment. Does the Vatican have anything
The
that they
Vatican, I
can?
don't think has a 25th Amendment.
Well, do they have anything that they can
Remove a
enact
pope?
to remove a pope because he's crazy?
Yeah, it's in a can. Pope remover.
No, I mean seriously, because I don't know.
Hold on, let me look. Can the Pope be removed from office? This is canonlawmadeeasy.com, a church law for normal people. So it's someone who's interpreting church law.
Church law for dum-dums.
A Pope can resign. We all know this because Pope Benny did it a few years ago.
Fuck it is. I'm out.
It's quite easy. The bitches. Humanly speaking, there's no particular reason why this couldn't happen to a pope, someone be removed, but the Code of Canon Law makes only a single passing reference to this possibility. Canon number 335 notes that when the Roman see is vacant due to the death of a pope or completely impeded because he's become Stugats, no innovation is to be made in the governance of the church. The canon adds that special laws which have been enacted for these circumstances are to be observed.
Well, what I get from that is, if the Pope dies, it's got to say status quo till they get another Pope.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, as far as just walking into him, going, Pope, you're fucking crazy. You're coming with me. You know what I mean? So the Pope could act as fucked up as he wants, and to me, that's dangerous because you got, you're giving this guy the keys to the kingdom, and let him do whatever the hell he wants, and then that's the problem because then he does it in the name of religion, and then he puts a blight on that religion. Even if it's a crime.
By the 1983 Code of Canon Law, this is off of cbc.ca, so it's a Canadian news website. Code 331 of Canon Law says that the virtue of the office, that the Pope possesses supreme, full, immediate, and universal ordinary power in the Church, and he is always able to exercise it freely. This means quite simply that the Pope is the supreme authority in the Catholic Church, and the first see is judged by no one. And that is based off of Canon 1404. So there is no authority other than God that the church recognizes that can deal with the Pope. There's an old saying that the church knows how to deal with a live Pope and she knows how to deal with a dead Pope. But a sick Pope, that's troubling. So we don't know what to do here.
Yeah, because it's a scary situation because for two reasons. You can have... Say you got a crazy Pope that does crazy shit and he's, going out and doing whatever crime you want. And you all got to look the other way simply because he's the Pope.
Yep.
But then again, it can work in the other situation too where you get a group of guys together and go, you know what, we really don't like the Pope. He's not enacting what we want, so we're going to get rid of him and say he's crazy.
Yep.
So it comes down to where there's no protection.
I'm seeing it over and over again. Everything goes back to number Canon Law 331. The Pope is the supreme pontiff. There is no worldly authority above him. Because there's no authority above him, he cannot be removed from office.
No, that's scary.
I mean, I guess it's why towards the end of John Paul.
Is it as scary though?
It's
Think
very
about it though. The Pope and the papacy seat alone in this day of age does not hold the weight as much as it does 200, 300 years ago.
Well, hold on a second.
I don't
Let's
know
go
if that's
further
even
back.
true.
You're talking 200, 300 years ago. Maybe that's not what you're aiming for. Like 1,000 years ago, when we were talking about the popes of this episode.
Yeah.
I would say yes, because a pope now can't just start a war. A pope can't go out and conquer anything anymore. There's no army that he controls anymore. So it's a different world. Everything's different now than it was then. But as far as enacting certain laws,
No, but think about it though.
Stuff, yeah, they got
We're
a lot
Catholics
to
in
say.
this. Well,
Yeah, I know. Keep going.
we're Catholics in this booth. If the Pope today turned around and said, "I want all my people," and started talking for just go kill people, you know what I mean?
Right.
We as common sense people would turn around and say, again, there's different people as we talked about through every episode. There's difference of radicals in every sector, but most of the religions have common sense people part of them. Be like, he's a crazy ass pope, and not listen to him. To where 1,000 years ago, these people followed the rule of the seat.
Again, Joe,
It
you know
depends
what?
on
But
how
you would get
devout
a
you
lot
are.
of fucking whack jobs that would follow him.
Yeah, but you're right. But you could say that about any.
No, I'm
seat.
not saying that.
Look,
right.
think of it like this. Just recently, as far as 2014,
But what I'm saying, hold on. What I'm trying to say is, what lately that has the popes have done to sit there and say that, oh, he needs to be taken out of office.
not taken out of office, but to question the Pope. This Pope that we got currently, Pope Francis, when they asked him about contraception, he wasn't like, yeah, absolutely not. We don't believe in it. He was kind of like not wishy-washy, but he said on the issue of contraception, I know there is a publication out on this issue and other marital issues. He's saying that, listen, the jury's still out when it comes to contraception. That is huge. When you come from the faith that says, we don't believe in it. For years and years and years, there was no such thing as contraception. You don't pull out, you procreate. We do not prevent life. That's what the Catholic Church believed. And now you have a pope who went, listen, condoms may not be that bad. Now you have people going, fuck this pope, because that goes against everything I've been taught, and he's the guy at the top.
And you also got people, too, that are going to say, okay, you know, to me personally, as a Catholic, again, I'm not going to say I'm the most religious guy. I don't go to church. I don't follow, you know, I don't, so I'm a lapsed Catholic, and that's fine. But some things I do believe in, you know, and the Pope saying that's kind of refreshing for me. Because to me, it's like, you know what? Yeah, you know, he gets it. So maybe there is room that someday the Pope will change, you know, completely, but he's not condemning it like most people would just blanket condemn. And that's where it gets
But my
into
problem,
problems.
I don't know about problems. See, I don't see it as problems. At least to
Why?
me, I don't sit there and say, oh, the Pope condemned contraceptive. You know why? I don't give a shit what the Pope has to say.
Well, that's from
But
your
then-
perspective.
right,
But you
you're-
have millions of people who believe, like, the Pope is speaking today. I need to listen to what he says because
Exactly.
he's
I
directing my
understand
faith.
that. But at the same time, like I said, it's not a problem. I look at things as a
To
problem.
you, it's not a problem.
No. In general, because I don't see as many. If that was the case again, and if the papacy wielded as much power as being a problem, then there would be a lot more shit going on today. That people would sit there and go, oh, the Catholics did that today. Oh, the Catholics did that today.
Well, again, it all depends on who's leading it right now, right? And there's, you know, you had the last pope was scary looking, but I don't think he did anything awful. I mean, he got picked on because he was a part of Hitler Youth.
And he was
which-
evil looking.
He was evil looking. He was Pope Palpatine the First. But even it being a part of Hitler Youth, that wasn't something that, like, he's like, ooh, summer camp. You know what I mean? Like, it's like it was part of what he lived through at the time.
And I'll be honest, I honestly do think there's
So he
a
gets
lot.
shit for it, but
You're
do I
right, but
blame
there's
him
a-
for it? Like,
there's a lot
I don't
more.
think he carried a lot of those camp virtues into the papacy.
I think though there's take an instance our grandparents.
Yeah.
Our grandparents when
Current
this
pope,
this current
France.
pope
Yeah, Francis.
Francis said that, and the way he's handling his papacy seat, when Mom and Papa didn't agree with a lot of stuff he said,
Yeah, but they followed him.
but they followed him. They said
it's
he's
nonviolent.
the Pope.
Right.
You know, he's the Pope. He's leading us.
Listen.
I think there's a lot more people in today's age that think like that than there are of fuck that Pope.
Maybe, but like he's saying, listen, the idea of family planning is still on the fence. That's not like he's not condemning a group of people and saying that they don't deserve a place on earth. He's not saying that he's not making a hard line in the sand with it. He's just saying, I don't know, and who am I to judge? Which is like, holy shit, because like you are the guy to judge. We look to you to judge, but he went, no, I'm okay. Like I can't make
See,
that
I don't look at
decision
it that
for you.
way. At least for the Pope, I don't look for the Pope to judge. I look for the Pope to lead faith.
Well, but by the Pope not judging, he apparently judged. That's how you got to look at it, because at that point, people are going to follow that. And if it's like
No, I know that, but like you look towards the leader of everyone's faith on earth, like not everyone, but you look to one of the leader of one of the major religions on the planet, and go, listen, you have 2,000 years of tradition and value. Do you uphold that? And he went, I'm not sure.
Huh?
And everyone went, excuse the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Right now, and this is why I looked this up. We have to end on a happy, the good, the bad, and the popies. To end on a happy note, there's 6. This is off of BeliefNet.com. There's 6 popes that they voted on to say this is the best popes that we've had. There's 6. We spoke about 15 evil popes. They managed to pull out 6 really good ones. So let's see. Right now, Pope Francis is on the top of the list. This is no particular. I'm not saying he is the best, but Pope Francis is number 1 right now because he's the guy in the chair. And he's built bridges between other religious leaders and faiths. He chose a papal name that associates him with the poor. He asked the crowd to pray for him rather than him blessing the crowd, because he's like, this is a big fucking deal, and I have a lot of responsibility, so help me out. He's not just going, I'm the fucking Pope, I know what I'm doing. It's a breath of fresh air. It's, Pope, it feels good to Pope right now. The second one, Number 2 on this list was Pope John Paul II. We all remember John Paul. He was a good pope. He commissioned an official modernization declaration of what the Catholic Church believed about God, creation, and humanity. So that's what I'm talking about when I say like people follow this shit. His letter on the dignity and vocation of women was groundbreaking. He said women are the representation, are the representative and the archetype of the whole human race. Embracing women as full persons rather than second-class citizens, which is what the Catholic Church had done for a very long time. He helped bring about the fall a little bit when it came to the Iron Curtain. He lived through the Nazi occupation of Poland and witnessed suffering. And despite seeing that, he helped to normalize relations between Russia and to bring the Berlin Wall down. Like, all these things that he saw growing up, and he went, this is fucked up and we need to have peace. He helped do that.
Pope Hippie the First.
Not Hippie the First.
I like John Paul.
Establishing peace, which is what fucking Jesus wanted. Everyone live in harmony and peace.
I like
This guy
John
did it.
Paul.
That was 2, right?
Yeah,
John
yeah.
Paul II.
Yeah, that's the sequel. Then you have Pope John the 23rd. This guy was in the he was elected. He was elected in 1958.
Right.
And
That was after Pope, Pope.
yeah,
The one Pope with the,
yeah,
World War II.
he became Pope at
Pius.
7. Yeah. He became Pope at 76. Now he's Pope John the 23rd. He was a traditional,
76.
much like Pope Francis. He was a tradition breaker. He was a man of great mercy, empathy, kindness. He paused his religious train during World War I to serve as a military chaplain, where he saved the lives of Jews during the Holocaust, and he provided them with visas. Like he did what Schindler did, get Jews out and like the Underground Railroad for Jews. That's what he helped too in the World War II. For this, he was recognized for Righteous Among Nations Award, which recognizes non-Jews who risk their lives to save Jews. On becoming Pope, he worked hard to improve the relationship between the Catholic Church and other faiths, removed anti-Semitic language from the Good Friday prayer, and he put doctrine into God's love and practice, and that's what he wanted everyone to know about. Now, Pius XII is also on here. Now, he stayed out of the war. We've talked about him, but they also have him on here as a good pope. This is Pius
How
XII.
is that even possible?
Well, accused by some of taking a too neutral stance during the Holocaust, Pius XII did try to stay out of the war, which threatened to bring down the Vatican. He soon openly condemned the Nazis and their violence and racist policies, and a series of official political statements, and went on to supervise a rescue network which saved hundreds of thousands of Jews. He also sent food aid and relief efforts for Jewish populations. So he did something after, I think it was like the war was over, and he was like, all right, now I can talk about this shit. Like, he didn't do anything while it was happening, but then he donated a lot after it was over. So, I don't know. He's walking the line there. And then we have Pope Innocent III. They said this was one of the best popes ever. He took on the role of pope in January of 1198. So it was a bit off. It was a while ago.
That was the Pope I talked about before, Pope Innocent III.
Innocent III. This is Innocent. Well, this is Innocent III. So maybe to talk about another Innocent. I don't know. One of the worst challenges was the church's corruption, and he came down hard on that corruption.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that. It didn't allow for honesty and open criticism, but he was like, listen, the monarchs of our church have to recognize that our church law is supreme. And he helped to develop canon law. So maybe it's not so much the things he did as Pope, it's more the things he did for the church. Like he put down structure. And then lastly on here, you got Pope Leo I, which was 400 to 461, 440 to 461. And he wrote something called the Tome of Leo, which established the doctrine that Christ's nature coexists, and his incarnation reveals that human nature is restored to perfect unity with divinity. He basically said that Jesus Christ was human too. He wasn't just a divine spirit that walked among us. you can be human and also be divine, and that's what he did. And during his Christmas Day sermon, he says, "Christians, remember your dignity," which I guess is something that a lot of people did.
All right, so coming towards the end of our episode here,
Live by the Pope, die by the Pope.
what is one thing that has surprised you about these popes? Just name anything, or may have piqued your interest.
Well, I don't think pedophilic popes. Try saying that 5 times fast. I don't think pedophilic popes piqued my interest, but like the level and severity of their crimes. Like I always knew that the Catholic Church, every fucking organization on this planet, is corrupted in some way. I knew that. The level that each of these fuckers is corrupted is surprising to me. You have marionette trials. You have pedophilic priests. You have aristocracies buying the papal seat.
So it sounds like a good Netflix show.
Like there is no like. It's like this, man. It's like the crimes
they really
are like
do
this.
Have to have like a house, a Game of Thrones type
There
of
has been,
show.
there was a star show called House of the Bourgeoisie or something like that starred Jeremy Irons. There was another show called The Young Pope that was on HBO starring Jude Law. They've touched on it. They've touched on it.
I'm definitely gonna go start watching these shows now.
Interesting.
One thing that has interested me in this, and that's because it kind of connects to our earlier episodes. These families that have spurred popes. Some of these bad popes, like the Medici family, and
Money can buy a lot.
and apparently now House of Borgia. These are 2 houses that have spurred a couple of popes, and I wonder if there's got to be more.
Oh, there.
266 popes. There's got to be more popes that are
money,
connected
money
to
will
money.
buy you. Money can buy
But that's
everything.
interesting because you know how many more things that could connect to.
Sure, I'm sure.
You know,
I'm sure that we're again,
Especially if they're all the House of Borgia, again, another banking family.
Right.
Yeah. Old
know.
money, and they did what the fuck they wanted to do.
And this is older money than the Rothschilds.
yeah.
It comes down to very simple.
It wouldn't surprise me if one of these families that you're talking about, old Italian money, somehow tied themselves involved into the Rothschilds.
Or spurred into
Or
the
exactly,
spurred
you know what I
into the
mean? Like
Rothschilds.
the Merovingians to this type of shit.
Dad?
Well, look, I'm never surprised when power gets corrupted because what's that old saying? You know, power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
And whenever you give somebody ultimate power, that's why I was questioning about who can take the Pope out. Well,
That phrasing.
the point
Anybody
is,
with an L9 and 400 yards, apparently.
That's not true either. They tried to take him out with that, remember?
Yeah, that's true. That's why they got the Pope Mobile now. No, Pope Mobile.
Pope Mobile.
Pope Man and Altar Boy.
we're gonna change this to the name of this show to Almost an L. Now, I think that whenever you get power, when you ever get money and power and it's total corruption, and it doesn't take much to corrupt a human being, especially that guy was 18.
Yeah, Pope Van Wilder the First.
Right. So these are things that it doesn't surprise me over the years because don't forget back then there was no laws. Now a Pope isn't going to, like you said, start a war. A Pope isn't going to do this because there are laws. He's going to have to answer to
Countries.
countries. He's going to have to answer to the law.
Yeah, he doesn't have an army. He has a Swedish army, but they're dressed like a birthday cake. No one's going to take them seriously.
Right. See, the Pope back then, they were the law. Now they're not.
The
So
Swedish Guard, excuse me.
the Swiss Guard.
Swiss Guard, that's right, not Swedish.
the Swedish
I
birthday
knew.
cakes.
Hold on a second. I knew I
The
was wrong.
Swiss are going, not us, motherfucker.
No, they are. I knew I was wrong when I said Swedish.
The
Because
Swedish.
they're Norwegian. That's kind of far from Italy. It's not the right one. But it went anyway. The Swiss Guard is dressed like birthday cakes. That's what I
They're
meant.
a little strange, and it is what it is. But I honestly believe that I never thought that there was this many, and more than likely there's a lot more. But it doesn't surprise me whenever there's power. Power corrupts, and
I think I'm going to look up is the craziest popes, because there's got to be a couple of popes out there who were Bozzo.
Pope Looney Bin the First.
Yeah, it's like he's like, Pope, what are you doing? The statue. He had something to say. The cardinals interrupt him. He's sitting with his council. It's 4 paintings and a statue, and he's having a full-on conversation.
I can't wait to see how this show downloads. I can't because I don't know.
I'm
Pope?
literally gonna keep it bad Pope, bad Pope. What you gonna do?
Pope, what the fuck are you doing?
What? It's my problem, not yours.
I was talking to the bird. The bird is from a Jesus. Right there. So you got to remember, it's not. No Pope is crazy, because the Pope talks to God. Remember the old
There you
saying:
go.
if you talk to God, you're religious, but if God talks to you, we suspend that rule when you're the fucking Pope.
Joe, take us out of this, please.
All right. So we have one more week left of this season.
Thank God.
Season 6 is coming to a close. The end of season 6, we're going to be basically talking about Christianity today and the Catholicism today, our religious beliefs today. And we're also going to be fuck you. We're also going to sit here and just recap our season. We're gonna, talk about our season, favorite topics, because we talked about a lot this season. Another season is coming to a close, gentlemen. Season 6 is coming to a close for us, and we have a lot of good things coming in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, follow us on all of our social media, on our YouTube page, on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. We are going to be having a TikTok page pretty soon.
Yes, I was just about to bring that up. If you follow us at all, go on TikTok and look up Tony the Dealer. It's my personal TikTok. I have a Beacons link under my thing that links to everything for the Is This Real
I have
stuff.
a link tree.
Yeah, it's a link tree. It's a Beacon, same shit, where you could find
My
our...
OnlyFans is not up there, though.
No, I keep my OnlyFans off. Right now, I think the only 2 links I have on my Beacons is our Spotify page and I believe our Twitter page. Oh, no, our YouTube page.
Yeah,
So,
I have YouTube.
You
Twitter.
can go to, it's Tony the Dealer on TikTok. You can find my Beacons. That's going to be moved over to the official Is This Real page, and we start posting more and more TikToks and
It's
stuff.
going to be soon.
Yeah, it's in the works.
But yeah, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Is This Real PC. And like I always say at the end of every episode, everybody say goodbye.
Goodbye,
Good
everybody.
night.
Good night.
everybody.
And remember, question everything. We're out. See you guys next week. Good night.
Bad Pope, bad Pope.
Konnichiwa, bitches. It's Ryu West speaking. If you want to find out more about the Is This Real podcast, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/isthisrealpc, or on Twitter at isthisrealpc, or on Instagram at isthisrealpodcast, all one word.